going to do our program on doing the fret dressing tonight, so I'll just turn it over to him.
All right. So I got a handful of tools over here. We'll kind of go over those as I come to them and talk about different tools that we're going to be using for this. We're going to start with this guitar by doing fret dressing on it. I'll kind of back up and talk about the reason that you want to learn about this is the reason that I learned about it is because I do these as part of my side business. So people bring me guitars for this, specifically for this. But if you're building guitars, you're going to need how to do this because this is one of the final steps in building a guitar is dressing the frets to where they're completely level and flat and crowned well to where they play well and they don't catch at all. So first job that you're going to do is just have a look at the guitar and see what you can see. One of the first things I always look at a guitar is sighting down the neck to see what kind of neck we got and if there are any issues right off the bat. With a bolt-on neck, like a Fender neck, sometimes you will run into something called a neck hump, which is right where it's screwed in here. It'll actually have a rod in the fretboard to where it comes out this way and then rises up like this and goes back down again. If you got that problem, you're going to be unlikely to be able to get a very good level fret job on a guitar like that. So when you're building a guitar, you want to make absolutely sure that before you fret it, that your fretboard is absolutely level and even has a little bit of a drop off in it in the upper frets there to prevent a fret hump from happening.
What causes that fret hump?
My understanding is that because you've drilled holes in the back of the neck and the rest of it is finished, moisture actually gets into the wood there, swells it there, my understanding. Other people have different ideas about the physics of what happens when you put strings in a neck under tension and you only have one stable spot on it. Bottom line is I don't think anybody really knows, they just know that it happens. And it's more common as a guitar gets older, so it could really be either one.
Okay.
It's only uncommonly that it's a defect of manufacturing. Most luthiers know to look for that. So if you sight down the neck on this, it's good. It looks good. The frets are pretty level, and it's got just a little bit of relief in it. And when I talk about relief, I'm going to explain some terms that a lot of us know, but some of us might not. Relief is the amount of curvature that's in the fretboard, and it's controlled by the tension of the strings and also the action of the truss rod. We'll talk about the truss rod again here shortly. So then you look at some other things that are going on with this guitar, and if you look at the frets themselves, and if you guys want to come up and take a closer look, I'd encourage you to, because you can tell that this guitar has been played a lot in a D chord because the frets are worn down under the strings in sort of a D-shaped fashion. But D is really one of my favorite chords, so I got to use that. One of the other things that's going on with this guitar is the nut slots, and the nut action on this is actually pretty good. It doesn't need a whole lot done with it, except the slots have been filed quite deeply. And that can be a problem because the deeper the nut slots are, the more irregular the slot can be as it's being filed, and the more likely it is that it's going to catch the string and grab it as you're tuning. You can tell if the string's doing that by if you're tuning up, you don't get any change in it, and then all of a sudden it goes peep, and then it changes tune, it's catching in the nut. And the reason for that is usually because either the fret slot is too deep, or on a Gibson style guitar where you have 3 tuners on one side and 3 tuners on the other, the strings actually take a turn through the nut, and that angle of the turn may be too severe, so you have to file the nut out. So on this nut's looking pretty good, but it needs to be sanded down a little bit to where the fret slots, or the string slots rather, are just barely holding the string in place, rather than grabbing it and pulling it down inside. So you can't do a fret job with strings, so speed winder, $1.99.